Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt, on the radio, on podcasts, on Facebook Live, on YouTube, and on talklawradio.com. Do us a favor and go to YouTube and search for Talk Law Radio and look for the Lady Justice logo in the red, white, and blue colors and click subscribe. Also, go on Instagram and search for Shannon Roberta San Antonio. I keep thinking, I don't know how many names you have in there. Just your first and your middle.
Yeah.
San Antonio.
On Instagram, it's Shannon Roberta San Antonio.
And follow Shannon because she's the Mr. Rogers of attorneys here in San Antonio, and she'll make you feel all good.
Feel
Such
better.
a good feeling to know you're alive. So, I don't know the rest of the song. That's the Mr. Rogers song.
It is, yeah. Very lovely rendition.
Yeah, so I was telling the story of when I had a bench trial and I alleged to the judge that the other attorney was lying about having his laptop stolen. Well, that was just one hearing. There was another hearing where I was trying to introduce photographs and I wasn't doing it correctly. And so the other attorney, he did know how to object to somebody who couldn't lay a foundation for photographs. And so the judge called a recess, and we both went into his office, and he like coached me through how to introduce a photograph.
Okay.
Because it was just painful. You know, we were going to be there all day, all week until I figured out how to.
I was trying to introduce a document at this most recent trial, and I have introduced a lot of documents, and I got the order wrong. So I had to correct myself, but I've done it a million times. That's the secret. Nobody that's watching knows that you haven't done it right.
Yeah. Well, when there's objection sustained, that's something that people can follow. We want to go back to O.J. Simpson because that's such a well-known scenario. It kind of highlights the differences between the criminal justice system and the civil justice system. So first, there was the criminal trial in California, and they brought out the tiny gloves, and poor O.J. couldn't fit his hand in the gloves, and so he was acquitted. What does that mean?
In the most technical sense, it means that the prosecution did not prove each and every element of the crime beyond a reasonable doubt. That's what it means. It doesn't mean innocent. It doesn't mean anything other than the prosecution did not prove their case, according to the jury.
And so then why didn't the prosecution just start a new trial?
Well, that would be illegal. No, that would be oh my God, I'm blanking.
Double jeopardy.
Double jeopardy. Thank you.
You're cool.
Yeah, that'd be double jeopardy.
When your brain is so full, sometimes
God.
it has to.
During the bar exam, I forgot the word suppress.
Oh no, it happens to me all the time.
So yeah, that would violate double jeopardy. Once a verdict has been reached, you can't retry somebody for the crime because you didn't like the verdict. You get one bite at the apple.
Okay. And so then after that, the surviving heirs to Nicole Brown Simpson filed a civil suit against him for wrongful death. And there's a different standard of proof there. Shannon, what's the difference between criminal and civil?
Well, preponderance of the evidence is the civil standard, and so it's not quite as strict as reasonable doubt. But on the you have a vast, you have a lot more trial experience than I do. But on the few times that I have done trials, I liked to show jurors how high that reasonable doubt standard is by saying that the preponderance of the evidence standard, the civil standard, is below it, And that is enough to terminate forever your rights to your children. And so I like to have parents on the panel because obviously every parent, that is one of their worst nightmares, if there was like a legal procedure that could forever terminate your rights to your own children.
Yeah.
That is a preponderance of the evidence standard. So reasonable doubt is above that. So if you were on that side, on the defense side, that's kind of a good strategy to help people try and get it up there, think about how high it actually is.
If you're on the defense side, you want beyond a reasonable doubt that the prosecution has to get above that. You want that to be as high as possible.
Right.
And so
right.
there's even a standard of proof, a burden of proof in between preponderance and beyond a reasonable doubt called clear and convincing.
Oh, I forgot about clear and convincing. You're right. Yeah.
And so that muddies it up
It's been a
even
while.
more.
Yeah.
So clear and convincing, like, okay, well, so preponderance of the evidence is more likely than not.
Right.
Clear and convincing, okay, but beyond a reasonable doubt. What's the difference between those?
Well, now I'm second guessing what I said. I can't remember. When I did my trials, I was prepared, but now I can't remember. For termination, is it clear and convincing?
Yeah.
You're the Jewish people would call you a mensch. You're a mensch. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well,
Yeah.
I think it's a good point to make for parents out there that if somebody alleges you're a bad parent, you might not go to jail, but you could lose your children. And so I think, lots of young people need to know that they need to, do a good job. You probably feel bad for people that lose their kids.
Oh
but
gosh, yes, I feel bad for everybody. We had this conversation. Everybody. I have too much empathy, I think.
I represented the unknown father in a few cases, and I've heard some tragic, horrifying stories where the children are hopefully better off without those parents.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why we have to have these laws. Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's definitely some circumstances where you can feel sorry for somebody who is having their children taken away. They're struggling with addiction, or they don't have enough money to feed them. I mean, I can get that. That's like when I was a prosecutor. They can't fire me for this now. If I was looking at a case for theft, we would get a lot of cases for theft, and people were charged with stealing like diapers and formula.
Wow.
Those people got breaks. Like I didn't feel good.
Yeah.
Hammering people for that. They were stealing, but yeah.
What are prosecutors supposed to be doing? Winning or finding justice?
Right.
Is there
so when you take your oath as a prosecutor, you're supposed to seek justice, not mere convictions. And I think that it's real easy to lose sight of that.
And there's prosecutorial
Misconduct.
discretion.
Oh yes, yeah. Yes, but you have to remember that these prosecutors are all employed by an elected official. That's all I'm going to say. So that is a factor.
Well,
And it's at-will employment.
Before I started law school, I was working for a casino in Mescalero, New Mexico.
This always cracks me up.
And
Doing what?
blackjack.
He was a dealer.
Yeah. But there's a
talk
whole
about a poker face?
there's a whole training process for that.
Oh, Todd, that
because
is so
do you know
cool.
how hard it is to pay a blackjack? If you got $22.50 out there, it's hard to pay. You have to do math in your head. Well, anyway, we were all training, people from all walks of life wanting to be blackjack dealers. And one of the guys said that he walked into the grocery store, grabbed a package of diapers, and just walked out. And I said, God bless. I didn't know that people had that same struggle. But Eminem rapped about it in one of his songs I heard recently. It's an old song. I don't listen to Eminem very often. But he said in his song that food stamps don't buy diapers. So this isn't
I'm not often a gangster, but when I am, I listen to Eminem.
This is an issue for me that... Yes, I think that young parents with no money should have a resource, and I think that there are some nonprofits here in town
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
that have like a diaper bank. and
Absolutely. Like,
formula.
yeah, any kid can.
There we
things
go.
like that, yeah.
Yeah, we should get them on this show. Okay, well, let's keep talking about jury trials. It's guaranteed to us under the U.S. Constitution, Article 3, Section 2. It says the trial of all crimes except in cases of impeachment shall be by jury. Then there's the Sixth Amendment. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed. But what I really liked about the history of jury trials is in the old country, the law was common law.
Oh,
right?
the old country. I remember the old country. I remember it well. It smells of soup.
And it was handed down by the courts. And so there was a man named Blackstone that wrote commentaries about the common law. And it was sort of the first method of codifying the law. And he wrote of trial by jury as, quote, the glory of the English law. It is the most transcendent privilege which any subject can enjoy or wish for, that he cannot be I don't know what that word's supposed to be. Can't lose his property, his liberty, or his person, but by the unanimous consent of 12 of his neighbors and equal.
I also have no idea what that word is.
I think it's affected.
A-F-F-E-C-E-D.
I think there's just missing a T.
Huh.
Anyway.
That could be.
So that's some of the history. I also studied 12 Angry Men to prepare for this. Alex, you really need to see it because when you do get to be picked as foreman, you're going to want to know how to change everybody's mind.
I will never get put on a jury. It sucks. I would love to be on a jury, but I mean, it's just low likelihood. I'm going to get struck. Somebody's going to strike me for cause.
Professor at St. Mary's, Johnson.
Vinnie Johnson?
Yes, Vincent Johnson. He said he was the foreman one time. He couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
None of those attorneys must have been from St. Mary's.
That they let him do it. Oh, by the way, I watched the new Reagan movie last night.
Oh, wow.
With Dennis Quaid. And it was awesome.
Oh, good.
Y'all
cool.
should go see it. Now, because conservatives are discriminated against in San Antonio, they put it in the smallest theater, so I had to walk all the way down the hall. But you should go see it. It's definitely a good movie to see.
Oh, tell us again how you had to walk, Todd, all the way down the hall.
Thank you guys for being on the radio with me today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
So fun.
Always
I
fun.
hope everybody learned about jury trials. Stay tuned for next week. Next Sunday night or evening, I'll be talking about Lady Bird deeds on Sunday at 4:30 in the afternoon. Talk to you later.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Each week, attorney Todd Marquardt talks about the law. His mission with the Talk Law radio show and podcast is to help you discover your legal issue blind spots. In the beginning, God had one law. Don't eat from the fruit of that tree. Then came the 10 Commandments. Now we have federal, state, and municipal lawmakers that won't stop creating new laws. Laws that might impact you without you knowing it. Listen to the show and drop a line on Facebook or email host@talklawradio.com and let the host know what you think of the show, the topics you want to hear, and whether you want to be a guest.